Hello friends, welcome back to another Tuesday love reading that we're going to be doing. Once again, we are getting started with 3 different groups to give you a general reading of what's happening for your love life for this week. These are obviously designed for all signs. Some of it may or may not resonate, so take it or leave it. You know, it's one of those things where if it doesn't resonate, then that message is probably not for you. So if that sounds good, then why don't we just dive right in? And before we get started, if this is the first time that we are meeting, well, thank you so much for taking the time to come and join me in this video. I'm so glad that you are here. Consider subscribing if you enjoy general oracle readings and anything and everything mindfulness and spirituality, and how we can kind of bring the law of attraction into our daily life in a more realistic way. So if that sounds good, then you will probably love it here. So let's take a look. I have not pulled any cards because I wanted to kind of pull that as we go. So we have group number 1, group number 2, and group number 3. So see which crystals you resonate with the most. I'll give you a moment. Okay, let's get started. So first, group number 1, if you have picked the clear quartz, let's see what Spirit has to say for you for this week within your relationship. What is it that what your messages are for the collective for this week? What do you need to know? The presence of love will always cast out fear, and I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. I feel like there's some issues with commitment. I feel like anything that was sort of coming up for you, perhaps some of your triggers are coming up. You are sort of being reassured that there's always the light. You're always going to have that opportunity to kind of shine the light onto the things that are actually true and authentic. And at the same time, I think that this week, especially if you are more connected within astrology as well, then you're going to see that there's also a full moon that's coming up, and this will be a time for you to really kind of do a little bit of a deep dive into and do some soul searching to see what is it that you need to let go of. Because I think that some of you were hanging on to aspects of your past that really wasn't serving, or it's not serving this relationship right now. And perhaps in an indirect way, you might be sabotaging your relationship. Yeah, like it's almost as if some of you might feel like you are, it's almost like you're being, not that you're being taken advantage of, but you're being taken for granted, right? Where like you just sort of, like I'm getting petty. I'm getting pettiness right now. I'm getting that it's almost as if you're just not feeling like you're being appreciated enough, or you're not really being seen for all the things that you do within this relationship. Yeah, definitely some of your triggers are coming up. Let me pull one more oracle card. We're bringing in the big guns today. Here's kind of where I'm at. By the way, like you will see that my lighting today is going to be a little bit wonky because I do have a lot of sunlight coming in from this side, so just please forgive that. We're working with it. I do think it looks beautiful, but you know, this is just a side note. Okay. I think that some of you are being triggered right now. Perhaps you might be getting into arguments, or you're just finding yourself that you're kind of repeating past patterns that are kind of coming up, and Spirit is inviting you to really, in order for you to get to that portion of letting go, you need to first witness it for what it is before you can actually make any changes to it. And I think that as soon as you shift your focus away from all of the things that are not, because gratitude is all about seeing and appreciating what you already have versus projecting what you don't have, or how you're being shortchanged, right? Like, it's, in order for you to receive more, it's almost like you need to tap into that aspect of your life where, of what is, and being okay with where things are at. Water helps you, like, basically you're invited right now to tap into the element of water, whether you spend some time around lakes or still water, or you are, so it's like you need to reconnect back to your emotions, or you need to acknowledge your emotions of exactly how you're feeling, instead of kind of pushing it down like it does not exist, or diminishing it. Like, you're invited to really look into not only how you're feeling, but acknowledge why that's happening, and actually start a dialogue, rather than just kind of pushing your emotions down and kind of wishing them away. And limitation inspire innovation. So it's almost like you might need to start looking at how you relate to your partner in a totally different way. Like, this is your opportunity really to, like, redefine, like, that connection of how you relate to each other. Lakshmi is fortune. So when the Hindu goddess Lakshmi comes to visit, the heralds a celebration of your purpose, wisdom, and compassion aid prosperity. All your experience and all your skills are rich with meaning and purpose, and as a result, you can expect to see evidence of this wealth in the world around you. You have the ability right now to create great success in your life, and what you have to offer has exalted value. The goddess of luck and prosperity says it's time to share your good fortune with others, and she will show you how it multiplies when you apply gratitude, praise, and a communication to serve. If it's material success you intend, you shall co-create it. So in this case, I feel like if you can find your way back to being grateful for what you have, then that can also enrich your relationships, and you will have like a lot of love to share with someone. But in order for that to happen, you need to kind of return back to seeing what is, and just appreciate what you have, and appreciate what you have to offer, but also appreciate the aspects of your partner as well. Okay, let's see what the tarot has to say. What is coming up for group number 1 for this reading? What is coming up for group number 1 for this week, please? So first, we have the 8 of Swords. I feel like this more relates to, like, with the 8 of Swords, I feel like this really relates to, like, you feel like you're being trapped in, it's almost like you feel like you're drowning, but you're actually just standing in a puddle of water. Like, almost like you're making this into a bigger problem, or you feel like this is a bigger problem than it actually is, right? But then the other part of it is, I think that you or your partner might be creating conflict that's really not there. So, and I think that the reason why that's happening is because either you or your partner have some unhealed stuff happening, and it's getting triggered. So addressing that and communicating properly will absolutely help. Queen of Wands. Yeah, like, I think that you both kind of want to move forward in a healthy way, but the reason why you feel like you can't, or you might be stuck, or it's just that progress might just feel like it's slowed down. I don't feel that you're stuck, but I definitely feel like the progress, like, as you guys moving forward, is kind of slowed down at the moment. Yeah. And then here you have Ace of Cups in reverse. So again, all about, okay, hopefully you can see it here. It's almost like right now you're invited to not only go back to gratitude, but you have to kind of fill up your own cup first, because I feel like that part of your relationship, like, it's almost like you're giving too much, and then your stuff gets triggered, and then you might not get it resolved, or it might not feel like your stuff is getting resolved, or it's being seen appropriately. And the reason for that is because you need to kind of create proper boundaries where you, and then I mean here, like, you also have the Devil in reverse as well. Sorry about the light, guys. Honestly, it's a little bit harder to control lights right now when when the sunlight is coming in. So I will literally just use the sunlight because it's natural. So I feel like basically you might feel like you are, let's just put it on top here. I feel like you might feel like you're being trapped, or right now you might feel like your hands are tied, like you're literally stuck, like you guys are stuck. You want to kind of move forward, but you have a hard time doing that. And right now you're also like, your solution essentially, what I'm getting is to kind of start pouring more back into your own cup versus expecting others to kind of do the same. So again, like you guys really need to spend some time on like addressing how to manage your own emotion and your own mental and your own emotional state, but also address the parts that are being triggered, because there is something there that needs to be addressed, because otherwise you're always going to be projecting your personal stuff to other people. And that's sort of where, and eventually you're just going to start looking elsewhere to feel heard or to feel seen and feel appreciated, right? Let's see if there is a crystal that you guys can use this week that would be helpful. Jade. Be a bigger person. So to me, this is all about, well, if you have jade, obviously use it, but to me, this is all about just understanding that, yeah, everybody has their own stuff. You kind of need to own up to your own stuff so that you're not projecting that into a relationship, and you're not making people pay for something that someone else did in your past that has nothing to do with them. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, we're all sort of responsible for our own energy and the way that we show up in the world. So that part is up to you. And if you can take responsibility and ownership for that, then you can actually start moving forward in a more healthy, more productive way, I guess. So this is what I have for you guys. Stay tuned until the end of the reading, where I will be pulling a couple of cards for the collective that you can actually use for this week as guidance. Now we're on to group number 2. So if you have picked this crystal, then group number 2, this reading is going to be for you. So let's see what is coming up for you for this week. I chose to learn through love. So I think that there might be like this idea that you might have had for some of you, where you think that in order for you to really learn a lesson, or for you to be like worthy of love, you need to actually suffer. And this spirit sort of reminds us that you can actually learn based on positive experiences, and you can kind of use that as validation rather than kind of feel like, well, you can be happy. You're giving yourself permission to be happy when, you know what I mean? Sometimes we can kind of get caught up in that idea that you need to have like these certain circumstances in order for it to be the right time for you to be happy, or for you to really manifest the relationship that you're really hoping for. Like you need to have like X, Y, and Z and ducks in a row, right? Or like you need to be healed or whatever. Sometimes like a lot of that is just our own insecurities that are just kind of creeping through. And here you are reminded that honestly, you're actually better off, and it's just a much more realistic way for you to kind of move forward and learn and live through joy or through love rather than through suffering. And the proof is also in the pudding. So my outer experiences are a reflection of my inner conditions. So when you bring things into balance, the way that you can kind of see like what is working and what is not is simply by seeing not only how you're feeling within your body, but see what is unfolding for you. Because sometimes we're trying to fix something that is really not needed to be fixed, right? But then the other part of it is that if people are treating you with love and with respect and kindness, then that's because that's sort of like you're kind of bringing that energy in. So just be very careful of how your partner is treating you, to see if that's still in alignment for you or not, right? But keep in mind that like a lot of that is also not personal. So it all has to do with like how much balance can you have within your life, and then how balanced of a partner can you show up as, right? Okay, let's see what is coming up for group number 2. What do they need to know about their relationship this week? What are your messages for the collective for group number 2, please? It's almost like there's some things that you don't want to deal with that has to do with how you feel about this person. Like you're getting all of these different things here because you're like playing this avoidance game, right? And the Spirit is also telling you that it is good things that are waiting for you, but you need to lean into it. So it's almost like you need to, if you say something, then you need to kind of own that aspect of, I guess, what you say. In simple terms, good things are waiting for you within this partnership or this person that you're thinking about. But I think that you need to be okay with moving forward with it, right? Like you have to kind of time it and see what feels like it's in alignment for you. And I mean, timing of relationships and partnerships, or where your relationship is going or where your relationship is today, that's such an internal thing that it's energetic. Like you're either there or you're not, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's more about timing than anything else. So I feel like for some of you, you are sort of, you're stepping it up, right? Like I feel like for some of you, you're starting to really get into relationships and partnerships with people that are actually starting to be more in alignment, but then that sort of scares you, right? Like it's a scary thing when you've been in really crappy relationships with people that would, I don't know, take you for granted or just treat you not with a lot of respect, or you wouldn't get the attention, or you're not getting the attention that you need from the person. And so when you do have someone that's a bit more balanced, then it's sort of like sometimes it becomes really scary, because it's like, oh my God, I never dealt with a partner who can meet me realistically on an energetic level, like with, you know, both feet in, like being all in. So you might be, you know, creating distractions or creating excuses of, you know, just not being available, or you might just be, I'm kind of getting that you're hesitant. Like you're hesitant because it's scary, because you had crappy experiences in the past, and you're just sort of like, I don't want to get hurt again, so I want to take my time. And but it's a, like, for one, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that, like, it's a positive thing that is waiting for you. And it's also a positive thing that you're taking your time, because if it's the right person, then for one, they will understand. And for another, if you're taking your time, you know, if it's the right person, it will prove in itself, you know, if it's working or not, right? But make sure that when you say something, actually keep your promises, so that you're not the one who's sort of becoming the flaky one. You're not the one who's constantly canceling, right? I don't know why I keep shuffling this, but okay, what else does group number 2 have to know about their relationship this week? Let's just take this one. Yeah, I feel like this is sort of this new fresh start, and it feels exciting but like scary at the same time. And some of you are scared beyond, right? Like I'm kind of getting that some of you don't really know sort of what to do with this, because it's like, oh my gosh, it's so, like, this relationship is so fundamentally different than what I had in the past, right? Like I haven't had that partner who is attentive and kind and kind of meets my needs, but at the same time sees me as a person and sees me for not just, you know, for like one thing, but sees me more as an energetic match of a partner, right? So when you kind of meet that person, especially if you're coming from a previous relationship where you didn't receive these things, then it can be really scary, right? So you might be like, oh my goodness, like, what do I do? And Spirit is telling you to take your time, but like, don't mess around too much, because these good things are meant for you. Okay, what does group number 2 have to know about this week? What are your messages for the collective for this week. Oh, nice. Okay, so with the Seven of Swords, we're looking at, I feel like that's actually your partner who, so the underlying energy here is the moon, which is all about tapping into your intuition, get that gut feeling, see sort of what's happening within this partnership. But the Seven of Swords is all about feeling like your partner is taking more than they're giving, right? Like it's almost like they're taking more of your time, or they're taking more of your energy. Like something is going on there where like maybe they're energetically more draining you. And then with the Queen of Swords, we have with reverse, that's all about you being bitter, or just it's really bringing out like not the greatest side of you, honestly. And I guess like ultimately, like potentially you're kind of reminded to just tap back into like what actually brings you joy and what brings you love, because the way that this this relationship is making you feel is not healthy. Even though you might have that love that's underlying it all, but it doesn't actually feel like a healthy situation. I feel like you need to kind of look back at like how all of this is reflecting back at you, because like there's some certain triggers that are happening. I don't see it as the end, but I definitely see it as an underlying issue. The other thing that I wanted to mention is I think that because you might have this strong connection with this person, so perhaps you have like this really strong chemistry with this person, I think that your intuition is sort of telling you that if you want to move forward, then not only you will have to shift energetically, but they will sort of have to change the way that they approach you and the way that they relate to you, because otherwise you're kind of constantly like robbing you from your energy, and that's not very healthy. So I see the new beginning not so much as an end of a relationship, but I see that as a new beginning, as like you literally have the opportunity to begin like refresh things, sort of say. So that's kind of why I see that choose to learn through love. And right now I think that what's happening is that there's such a disconnect between the two of you that you're almost like you're choosing to learn through struggling and suffering, but like it's really teaching you like what it is that you want out of a partner, but also who do you become with different people in your life, like how do they affect you energetically. Okay, let's pull a crystal based card. I want to see sort of what advice Spirit has for you guys. Amethyst, again, going back to your intuition, listening to your intuition, listening to your gut feeling. If you guys have amethyst this week, please use it. I think that it's going to help you for sure. I think that you really need to listen to your own gut feeling about how things are going and what exactly you want to manifest within the relationship going forward. Card that you're having here that talks about your intuition and trusting your intuition, trust how you're actually feeling, because it seems to be right on the money. Okay, you guys, this is all I have for you for this week. Stay tuned until the end of the video, and then I will give you guys a collective message that you can use for this week. Okay, you guys, we're on to group number 3. So if you picked this little guy right here, then this reading is going to be for you. Let's see what's coming up for you for group number 3 for this week within your relationship. What do you need to know? What is happening for you for your relationship? What do you need to know? What's happening? When I'm in alignment with the love of the universe, peace cannot be disrupted. And I create mindful moments throughout the day, reminding myself that I am love and miracles are natural. It's almost like some of you are creating problems that aren't there. Like some of you want to create a problem even though there is no problem, right? But then you're trying to see sort of where your relationship is going. You guys need to do something fun together with your partner where you guys are actually enjoying yourselves rather than just having talks about what is your relationship hold for the future. Because when you are in that flow state, when you're spending time together, perhaps this time that you haven't taken time for like date nights, or you haven't taken the time to really connect, like to create those intimate moments when you can actually connect with one another, then you can create those magical moments that actually make your relationship great. And like, you are reminded that the energy that you bring to this relationship is powerful, but I think sometimes you tend to forget. So, couple of things here. Based on how things are going with this connection, or with this person that you're with, or you're thinking about pursuing, you're being reflected back how things are going. So energetically speaking, if you are showing up as the wounded person, then you're always going to be attracting that energetically, right? But then the opposite of that is true as well. If you're showing up as a person who is confident and energetically balanced, then you're going to be energetically attracting that into your space. And so right now, whatever is kind of showing up for you on a weekly basis, that's sort of where you kind of need to do a little bit of tuning in to see, like, where do we need to perhaps you need to do a little bit of recalibration to see, like, okay, what's in alignment for me right now and what's not in alignment, and how can I show up more as a person who is not needy, who is not coming from a place of pettiness, who is not looking at like how the world is out to get me. Like, it's not coming from this place of, you're the victim, but it's coming from a place of, all of these things, like how people relate to me is a reflection of what is meant for me and what is not meant for me. And sometimes when people don't treat you the way that they should, or treat you the way that you deserve to be treated, then that's because it's coming from their own reflection, right? So keep that in mind. And honestly, especially if you're still asking yourself the question of where is this going, you have to kind of decide, like, what is it, what type of relationship do you really want to manifest for yourself? Like, what does that connection really look like, and the more you kind of tune into that, the more you're going to be able to kind of draw that into your space. Yeah, I think that some of you are really struggling with your emotions this week, where you are just being more petty, and perhaps like you're kind of scrolling through their social media feeds, and you're just feeling really insecure rather than trusting your own magical power and your own beauty, your own inner beauty, right? And you're also kind of feeling like, other people have it better than you, or why don't I have that perfect relationship, or why don't we travel more? Like, you're very much, it's like you have a really hard time right now on just trusting that, like, you need to really recalibrate. Like, that's ultimately what the underlying message is you need to really recalibrate and kind of find that connection, that balance back in your relationships. Because magician, magic, like all of that, like you do have so much to offer as a partner, but yet it's hard to see it because you're kind of focused on like all of the stuff that's kind of coming up for you. And it's really bringing out your own demons. And so like all of that is being reflected back onto you. And you really need to decide of like, how do you want to really show up? And like the only thing that you have true control over really is just how you show up as a partner, right? Or how you show up as a person, or what energy or what vibration you're tapping into. Oh, way too much. Shakti. Yeah. I think that some of you are kind of going through your own inner transformation. You are shifting, or you're invited to shift out of the vibration that you're in right now, when you're in that lack mindset, or in that petty mindset, or when you get really obsessive or trying to control areas of other people's lives, which doesn't really work, by the way. And just being really negative Nelly about, what is not instead of what is. So with Shakti, allow these emotions to just know that these are emotions. These are fleeting emotions. They come and go. They don't define who you are, but you have the choice of like, do you take that on as your own energy, or do you just release it and let it go? My recommendation is, especially with the full moon this week, is to perhaps get real about what these emotions are. Be mindful of them, that when you tap into love, the energy of love, or the vibration of love versus the vibration of fear, then your outcome will be fundamentally different. And oh my goodness, so much more about magic and magician and your magic. So labradorite is all about intuition, all about using your own inner powers, but then also using all of the energies around you. So it's almost like you need to create like tapping back into your self-care routine, guys, is going to be fantastic. Using your crystals, using your rituals, returning back to your yoga mat, returning back to all of those self-care routines that really fill your own cup, because then you're showing up as a totally different person energetically. So this is what I have for you for this week for group number 3. Stay tuned until the end and use the timestamp so that you can come to the end of the video, and I will give you guys like a collective message. So let's go. Interesting read, you guys. So thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. So your collective messages are, even though each reading was just so fundamentally different from the next, but I wanted to kind of pull a couple of cards for you guys, mainly just focusing on crystals this week, to see what you can use as a collective, as an underlying message that would be really helpful. Okay, so we have Angel Aura Quartz, Lighten Up. To me, this is all about tapping back into what lights you guys up, what gets you excited, what gets you passionate, what, like, you know, what are the activities and who do you need to be around? Like, who are the people that really makes you feel excited to be around? Who is sort of offering that, or how can you kind of tap into your own inner passion, your own inner fire, that kind of light you up? Because keep in mind, when you are tapping into that level of joy and fun and lightheartedness and anything that really just sparks joy, then you show up as a totally different partner. So keep that in mind, that it's extremely infectious. And honestly, time to shake some energy up, you guys. Like, use this week to kind of do something different, get up and moving rather than contemplating. So I feel like some of you were really, really in your head this week, and it's time to kind of get out of that and use your body to not only release some of the stuck energy, but also to really show up as a totally different version of you, just by shaking up the energy around you. And whether that means go for a bike ride, or get outside and get outdoors, or be around water where you can really be inspired by, you know, just go into a different mental space than where you're at right now. Use your crystals, you guys. I think that it's going to help you tremendously. This is what I have for you. I hope that this has resonated. Please comment down below in the comment section and let me know which group you have gone with and if it has resonated. I hope that you are enjoying yourself. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. If you did, you can support the channel by all of these different things that I'm leaving on the screen here. And you can obviously subscribe and hit the notification bell. And in the meanwhile, I will see you guys again next week for your love reading for next week. And thanks so much for watching. Bye.